Hello everyone, welcome to my January 26th League of Legends DFS esports breakdown. We have a 4-gamer, we have LCK returning with their 2 games of LPL as well. So we can go through the recap a little bit here. Again, only had a LPL 2-gamer last night, but it was a darn good one if I do say so myself. I'll say that because I had predicted both of these scores perfectly correct. I actually don't remember how I did on the video itself, but I do know that I tweeted out I was leaning Thunder Talk by the end of the night. During the video, I was super indecisive, and I think that kind of came with good reason if you watch those games because they were pretty up and down, both sides, coin flippy, and I think that in itself is like a good thing. I think from what I saw, a lot of people were like all over anyone's legend, and I'm gonna be honest. I feel like a lot of people outed themselves as kind of bad analysts last night. Like I'm not gonna claim that I'm like the best at this. Like I'm just a guy. Like I don't have I don't know, some specialty. Like I'm not even high ranked in the game. Like I'm not going to claim to be some magical person who can see the future or anything. But like, you should really reconsider like your tout or especially if you're paying for like a tout service or something. If they said anyone's legend was a good play last night, I know they ended up getting there, but I mean, they were a minus 300 favorite, and they looked. I mean, they lost the series. They ended up getting there in DFS, but I mean, what are the odds of that happening repeatedly? Probably like less than 5%, I'd imagine. That the team loses the series, but is the optimal in the DFS. So, like, they really should just have never been that priced. I think obviously they lost, so I mean, we get there in the betting market, losing the DFS side. That's pretty unlucky, but I mean, what can you do? But like I said, trying to jump the gun on that a little bit because the first series was Ultra Prime IG. The first game was actually pretty close. This was an IG lead, like throughout the early and mid game. But then Ultra Prime were like just slowly winning some fights, finding some picks, and they ended up getting there. I believe they even defeated IG with they had an Ocean Soul, which is pretty crazy. I think the Ocean Soul win rate is like 85% or something. So this is a little fortunate for Ultra Prime to win this first game, but I think they kind of did look like the better team, but they just fell behind. And then second game was kind of more on pace with what I expected. This is just kind of a gigantic bottom lane gap. Like Elk and Shousey just made Zhao UAG and Lucas look like clowns. And this is kind of a little bit more what we expected. I said Ultra Prime would 2-0. They did. It wasn't as clean, but they got the job done. And then heading over to the second series, Thunder Talk, Anyone's Legend. Again, I just want to rant about this for a long time. So I'll try to keep it concise, but like the gap between these teams is not much. Like I don't understand how they're priced that way. I don't understand why people were all over AL like they were. Like if memory serves, like I had Anyone's Legend in single entry at like sub 10%, I had Thunder Talk at like sub 10%, and then Anyone's Legend was like 60%. Like, come on, guys! Like, what are we doing here? Like, we really think Anyone's Legend is deserving of being a 3-1 favorite after how bad they looked against Weibo? Like, I feel like most of these people just aren't even like watching the games at bare minimum or something. I don't know. Like I don't want to say names or like start beef with anyone. Like I respect a lot of people's opinions in this industry, but like come on, like what are we doing? Like are we really thinking just because TT lost to like 3 good teams and one okay team and one bad team that they're just like the new V5, like they can't win a series? Like I just don't understand. Like what are we doing, guys? Like how is Anyone's Legend a minus 300 favorite? Like, are we not watching the games? Like, what are we doing here? So, this was a battle between my heart and my head. I'm an Anyone's Legend fan at heart. I love this team, love these players. I love the direction they're going. But come on, like we have to recognize like actual skill here, and we're putting our money on the line. And we managed to get this series correct. Again, I don't remember exactly what I said on the episode yesterday, but I tweeted out that I was leaning with the Thunder Talk side, and after I released the video, and that ended up being the correct side. Thunder Talk got there as the underdog. Like this was always well within the possibilities. Like I didn't understand the sentiment on the series really at all. Um, it's pretty tilting that AL got there as the DFS aspect. Like if we look, Thunder Talk won game 1 tied 9-9 in kills, and then game 2 was 22-4. So there's just such a discrepancy to make up there. And then the third game was a little close, but I mean it was just like never gonna get there. I think the lineup that won the 10K had like new Zhao Hao and then the 4-man Ultra Prime stack with Thunder Talk team. Like I don't know. So I'm gonna be honest, that was an extremely tilting night. Although we did get there on the betting side, because Thunder Talk got the upset at plus like 240 or something, but I didn't bet the Ultra Prime favorite, despite me thinking that they were gonna win. I don't know. This is just like I don't know. I have some like hot takes, and I understand that sometimes like hot takes rub people the wrong way, but it really something that's really starting to frustrate me in this in not I don't want to say like the DFS industry as a whole, because this is stemming a lot from like casters and known like analysts, I guess, like people within the scene who talk up these players just because they've heard their name before. And it's so annoying that it's like people that pretend to know these things, like I don't know, like the people like here. This is a good segue because tonight we have Clid starting for FPX. Why are we changing junglers? Like FPXs look good. Why are we swapping him out to Clid? And why are people saying that Clid is an upgrade over Beishuan just because we recognize the name? Like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, glad Clid is getting the star here. He deserves it. No, he doesn't. He just doesn't. He was bad. He looked bad on his last split. And Beishuan has looked good. He's made FPX look good. I know people want to like ride with LWX and Hung. Like they've been performing well. They're doing good. But like, why are we swapping junglers now? Like, do you want more experience against another top team? Like, then why swap them out? Swapping junglers does not lead to success. Like, show me a team in the last like 4 or 5 years where swapping players has worked. Like the last decent example of that was when IG was swapping out Duke and the Shy, and by the time the like actual like came down to like World and stuff, it was all the Shy. Like the Shy, the Duke was not a part of the playing at all. So it's just like, come on, guys. Like, what is with this? What is with this Clid love? Like, I know people just like, I feel like people are just saying stuff because they recognize the name, and this is a pretty terrible problem happening in, especially with like Western media. Sorry, I want to pull up Clid's match history, but like, yes, he was on the the jungler for the team that made it to, what is it? It was World's semis. They lost to EDG, or quarters. Sorry, wrong thing. So yeah, it was World semis. They lost 3-2 to the world champions. But like, he didn't look good for like this most of the time before that. Like, why are we swapping junglers after we were winning matches? Like, I don't get it. We're 3-1 in the league. Why are we swapping junglers? I don't understand. I really hope this is, I don't know if there's a reasoning out in public yet. Not that I know of, at least. But there really should, I really hope it's just like Beishuan is sick and Clid is getting the start. And I don't know. It's just so annoying. Like, after hearing people talk about every BLG series, people are talking about Uzi. and then Doggo pops off in this RA series, and all of a sudden everybody was on Doggo the whole time. It's like, no, you guys weren't. Stop pretending like you guys knew that Doggo was going to be better than Uzi. Like, I don't know. It seems like such a clown fiesta out there right now, with people like pretending to know things about these games, and I don't know. It just seems like such a, I don't know, like snake oil salesman mentality of like people saying that they just say like, oh, this guy is better, and because it's just a name, more name recognition. Like, I don't know. It just seems so silly. Like, if you guys want my true, honest, hot take right now, if you hear somebody say that these players are good or above average, or especially if you hear them say that they're like great at their position, then you can just ignore their opinion about League of Legends as a whole immediately. If you hear people say Jackie Love is good, if you hear people say The Shy is good, if you hear people say iBoy is good, then you can ignore them automatically, because those players are not good. They're extremely overrated, and the reason that people think that they're good is because people used to talk before the LPL was like talked about. Those are just like the few names that were fled over to the Western media, and these would be like the names to watch from the LPL that nobody has heard of. Like, now that we know what the LPL is, people are watching the LPL because it's the best region in the world. Now we know that that's not true anymore. So why are we still pretending like those names are insane? Like, this still applies to like top esports. Like, people are still pretending like top esports is like one of the best teams in the world, and I just don't understand it. Like, what have they shown at all? Like, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. I feel like, I don't know. It's like when you watch a movie and there's like a hacker man scene, and they're like just typing just random numbers into like a black and green screen. Like, everybody at home who knows anything about like that stuff at all, even bare minimum, you know that it's just like stupid BS for the cameras. It's not a big deal. But then people are like, will take that information and run with it like they know something. And then that's what it feels like in this like space right now. People are just like running with names and saying, oh, these guys are good, this guy is, bad, or whatever. Like, are we just gonna, I don't know, like what is happening? I just don't understand. I don't know. It's like every like Western like voice of the LPL is just like spewing such bad information. It feels so silly. I don't know, like people just like standings watch and say like baseless weird things. Like, I don't know. There's just so much like weirdness happening within the space. It's getting on my last nerves, but we can, I digress. I guess we can move on. Try to get some semblance of sanity back and try to get for these games. The first one up, V5 Weibo. I mean, you guys know my feeling about these teams. I love V5. I don't like Weibo. Don't like the Shy. But they're close. They're in the same realm. They're pretty close next to each other in skill. I'll go V5 this light lean. I'll go Weibo plus 110. No, something like that. I like V5. I think they're better. I'll up this a little. I think V5 are definitely better. Weibo has not proven a lot to me still. We look at who's Weibo's played. They beat Anyone's Legend, Thunder Talk, lost to BLG, and they beat WE. So they beat definitive three of the worst bottom 4 or 5 teams, and then they lost to BLG. And you look on V5, they've played real teams other than, I don't like TES or WE, but RA is better. I don't like how V5 have gone to game 3 every time, despite playing 2 bad teams. So looking at that, V5 hasn't really shown us a ton either, but I feel like it's definitely been closer. So, I've liked what I've seen more from V5, so I'll go V5. I think top lane Canyon here is ginormous. I think bottom lane here it's about neutral, and then I would say jungle and mid also lean V5 anyway also. So I feel like Weibo have no advantage anywhere. Top lane gap is huge. Mid lane gap is pretty good. Rookies looked pretty insane on this team. So I like V5. I'll be on them pretty heavily, I'd imagine. And heading over to LNG FPX. LNG big favorites. Big favorites seems like a little tough. I'll go LNG minus 190, FPX plus 150. I think people are going to overstate Clid's importance in such a massive manner. Like, he's not going to be bad. I don't want people to misconstrue like what I'm saying about these players is like, oh, the shy. Maybe that's a bad example, but I don't want to think like, oh, he thinks iBoy is the worst ADC in the league. Like, no, I don't think that. I don't think that about Clid. I honestly might think that about the shy. I don't know that I can just get completely triggered about the shy, but like, why are we swapping junglers after a 3-1 start? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, the cohesion is just going to be not there against a team who's looked good. Like, I don't understand. What are we doing here? LNG, 2-0 WE, 2-0 IG, 2-0 Ultra Prime. Their only real like fight back is from RA. They got the job done. FPX, same boat. They lost to JDG, which is concerning a little. They beat AL and LGD, two trash teams. And then they beat RNG, but again, this is like a first day of the league. Like, I don't know how much stock you can really put into that. So yeah, these teams may be like around close, but I mean, you'd be super hard pressed to tell me that like swapping jungler is gonna somehow make them better and overcome one of the top teams in the league. I can't get there. Heading over to LCK, Genji Guangdong. Pull up the match history here as well. So you guys know me with Genji. I think Genji's like probably the best team in Korea at the moment. They beat Hanwha, beat Bro, beat Damwon, beat DRX. So they beat 3 bad teams and Damwon. But I mean, Guangdong, they've only beat DRX and lost to everyone else, even middling teams. So this is going to be pretty heavily Genji favored. We're going to look at them in DFS. We're not going to X them out probably. We'll look at them and see what we're thinking. But this is probably like Genji minus 450, KDF plus 300. And then the other series, DRX Bro, battle of the worst teams in the league. I don't know. There's probably like a few, 4 teams probably battling for that handle. Man. I mean, there's no doubt Fred and Brion have put up more fight. I mean, they beat Hanwha, took a game off T1. DRX, they 2-0'd Guangdong and then got 3-0'd by Sandbox, T1, and Genji. I was the one who called DRX to beat Guangdong here on the 23rd. I think I might lean that way again. Like, I feel like they're maybe figuring it out a little. Like, they're still bad, and there's no question about that. But I think they just have like a little bit more prowess that Bro don't have. And like, this is probably just like a complete stay away regardless. So I wouldn't like look into this too much. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked if like Frederick Brion is the favorite in this, but I'm just not like a big fan of this matchup either way. So we could take a look, sort by tomorrow. You get these games popping up. So we have Genji minus 800. I have a more 450. So it's about the same. And of course, their prices are just going to be juiced. DRX, Fred Brion coin flip, completely even. Yeah, I mean, that sounds fair. I like this slightly on DRX. I wonder who's cheaper. Looks like Fred Brion is. But I don't think you're getting there in DFS anyway. Like, Fred Brion plays at an absolute snail's pace. Like, you're never going to want to get there in DFS anyway. Heading over, we have V5, 150, Weibo plus 130. They have minus 125. Now, I want to be honest. I think earlier in the day when I woke up and saw lineups, that I saw somebody tweet lineups with odds. And I want to say Weibo was the favorite. So I wonder if Nope. Nope. Maybe I'm just making things up, I guess. Looks like V5 is a favorite here as well. Fair. Fair. So I guess my whole rant was for naught. It sounds like it's going to be pretty accurate. I do like V5. No doubt about that. But I mean, the odds aren't too far off from what I'm thinking. LNG minus 180, I have them minus 190. That sounds about fair. So comparing my odds to the Vegas odds, we're about on the same wavelength there across the board. Not much really to comment on there. Not a lot sticking out like how I've priced games in the past. So we can look at our leans, I guess. Initial leans, obviously we're going to go with LPL first, probably. We'll look at team stats before we make decisions. So we have Fun Plus against LNG. Then we have V5 Weibo. So combined kills per minute, we have V5 FPX above the 8, LNG Weibo below, lower. So not a lot separating them there. We can look at LCK. That's Champions Korea. They haven't played for a while, so it'll be down here. So we have Genji, Ferdibrion, DRX, Guangdong. So Genji and DRX play a little bit faster, but Guangdong and Ferdibrion are absolute snails, not a part of anything. Let's look at losses, who's given up the most. I think this is the best indicator we can get. LNG, FPX, looks like Weibo don't give up a lot in losses. Looks like V5 don't give up a lot in losses. In losses, DRX are giving up a decent amount. Genji are. Looks like Ferdibrion and Guangdong can just kind of roll over, so it's pretty boring. I think based on just that, I think that's enough for me to just kind of X out the LCK. I know that's not exciting. A lot of people are probably going to be on the same wavelength as that is for me as well. But, I mean, it is what it is. Kind of stats don't lie there. I mean, when you're giving up like half a kill a minute at one of the lowest paces in the league, or not even the league, the world, it's a little tough. So in wins, V5 are doing well in wins. FPX, so they're all doing okay in wins. In losses again, LNG, FPX. So it's looking like for DFS leans, it's looking like LNG, FPX 1, Weibo B5 2, Genji, Guangdong 3, DRX, Ferdibrion 4. Honestly, low-key, the DRX Ferdibrion series could be interesting just because they're both bad teams. They could just never end the game, which is the possibility. Now, over-unders 22 seems a little low. I don't know. It just seems a little low. I feel like we could see. Actually, I don't know. It's just tough to make an argument there. 22 on the DRX Ferdibrion one as well. 26. So yeah, kind of about what we expected. It's just going to depend on your leans for the night. I mean, I like LNG. I like V5. Both of the favorites in the two bloodiest games. Not a lot of hot takes there. Not a lot for you guys to go off of. If I was to throw out a low-key sneaky thing, then I think maybe it could be Ferdibrion. Let's look at player stats. LPL spring, LCK spring player stats. Look at Ferdibrion, Genji, Guangdong, DRX, and look at kill participation. So I mean, they're pretty team fight focused. They have 4 players above 70%. They have Henna, Lava, Umpty, and Delight. And we do remember that let's see, LCK team stat. I shouldn't have closed it. So we have DRX and Fred Brion. So we look at wins, they're super slow. Oh my god, that's tough. But in losses, DRX actually give up a good amount. I don't know. I think going Fred Brion here is like low key not bad. Like let's look at Henna's scores. I mean, they've had 70s, Delight, 40s. That is tough. Umpty, man, that is not. I mean, it's hard to make that sell, but I mean, I think like there's a real possibility where the DRX Fred Young game is like, I think these are the two worst teams in the LCK. So there is like some merit, I think, to like bad teams just like never ending the game and they just like keep taking dragon fights, and Fred Brion just like find a way to get to like 23 in a game or something. And they are like technically the underdog on like the DFS side. So I don't hate them. I don't hate that as a secondary stack. I don't know. It's a little bit tough. But I mean, like I said, when you look at these kill participation numbers and you have 4 people above 70, like they're just grouping up, team fighting, and they're throwing it down. We've got Genji towards the bottom, Kwangdong towards the bottom. DRX are kind of spread out. We can take a quick look at the LPL and see that as well. Filter teams, FPX, LNG, Victory 5, Weibo. Sort by KP. So we have Tarzan Light, Rookie PB God, Hung LWX. So it looks like LNG is the spot. They have Doinby, Lumao, Light, and Tarzan all grouped up here near the top, above 70%. Looks like Victory 5 is kind of low. We can add the min games played of 4 to get rid of Invincible. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably LNG. So yeah, that's where I'd go in. Quick, like run through. I'll go Genji 2-0. Not loving it for DFS purposes, but not. It's not terrible. I'm gonna go Reddit Bree. I don't know. I feel like I kind of talked myself into Fred Brion a little bit there. I'll go Fred at 2-1 and a low key, not a terrible like DFS spot as like a secondary stack or something. Like I said, they can have like a super long, like 45-minute game where they just keep fighting and never ending the game. So low key, not terrible. Fred at Brion, I think. V5. I'm gonna go V5 2-1. I guess because they've had only 2-1 series so far, so it just seems like what they're doing at the moment for some reason. I like them for DFS, not crazy. And then LNG, I'm gonna go LNG 2-0. Like I just don't know what, like swapping Clid for Beishuan. Like I just don't know. And I think there's just like a little too much of a gap there. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is like a series that LNG like gets up for. Doinby revenge game against FPX. If you want to do some narrative street stuff. So I'm going LNG 2-0. I like them probably as like my favorite stack of the day. But I wouldn't blame you for going V5. Low key might even make a Fred Brion lineup just because I know they're gonna be like, I don't know, sub 10%, and they like low key could get there. Genji like low key could as well, but probably I'm not gonna get there myself. So I think that's gonna be it for me today. Not many hot takes. I'm kind of riding the wave, sticking close to the odds, unfortunately. So no hot takes other than me ranting earlier about some like Western media coverage, but it is what it is. I will see you guys tomorrow for some more League of Legends games. I'd imagine there's either another 4 or 5 gamer. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a little bit better of a slate, although this one's not that bad. See you guys tomorrow.